let's start with the early kickoff in the Premier League on Saturday. It's at Anfield, Liverpool against Burnley. It's an important one for Liverpool that I think they'll want back-to-back wins, set the tone as well. And it's big for Burnley too, because they don't want to go with back-to-back defeats to start their season. How do you think it's going to go?
Well, I think this second game week, when I look at it, the first week, it's whatever happens. But game week 2, now you're starting to kind of build a narrative that, everyone is going to either pick apart or build you up with. And I feel like this is a huge game for Liverpool. But with Chelsea next week, they want to be in that right frame of mind. I was generally impressed against Norwich. I mean, I thought the first half of that game, Hugh, I thought Norwich looked all right. And I was thinking, hang on a minute, what's going on here with Liverpool? That the midfield three I was a bit concerned by. But that quality from Mo Salah, although he got a little bit of luck for the assist for the first one, but overall his quality again is going to be crucial in terms of them winning the league. And I think I've so many Liverpool fans, and I'm sure guys get involved in the comments. I'm sure you'll be getting annoyed at us talking about how is it going to be really about Chelsea and Man City, because a lot of people believe that it's Liverpool who've got just as good a chance. And if they do have just as good a chance, it's probably because of Virgil van Dijk being back in the squad. Massive moment for them last week to have him there. He said himself it was very emotional, didn't he?
Absolutely, yeah. And I thought it was really good to hear him reflect on being back in the Liverpool side and just not getting carried away with it. He said he just wants to enjoy it. I thought that was really important for a player of his stature who's won everything he's won to still get that message out. This is a game that we all love and I'm here to enjoy it. And I think his confidence and his composure at the back, that spread throughout the entire team. I think everyone felt more comfortable, more happy, more assured in that Liverpool lineup because Virgil van Dijk was behind him. He's that big. We talk about all these great number 9s who have been brought into the Premier League and great attacking players signed at other clubs across Europe as well. These centre halves can be so important. Virgil van Dijk is, as we know, an absolute Rolls Royce. If he can get back to that 100% match fitness, there is no centre back better in world football. I'm sorry, right now there just isn't, and he's proven that over the last few years. So I think he will.
Do you think he can reach those heights again, Hugh? Do you think he can reach the same heights? It's tough, isn't it?
I can. To be honest, he signed a new contract, and I raised an eyebrow a little bit and thought, what will they get out of a centre half who's going into, his early 30s? And you think, football's changed. Sports science has changed. He's going to be absolutely fine. He's not a player who is playing on the limit. He plays like this is five-a-side with his mates down at goals. I mean, he plays in such a relaxed manner. He reads the game so well. He never really seems to be massively put out. That's how good he is. So I think he's got plenty more years left in the tank. And yeah, I do think he can reach those really high levels. What I find interesting to me, we talk about Liverpool coming back and being in the frame for a title challenge. It was put to me yesterday that Liverpool have the best defense in the league. When everyone's fit, when you look at it, Alisson in goal, fantastic. Andy Robertson, and then you've got Trent Alexander-Arnold at fullback, brilliant. It could be Joe Gomez. Joel Matip played really well alongside Virgil van Dijk. Ibrahima Konate has been signed for the club as well. They've now got options in the centre-back area. And you look at the other clubs, I don't know what you think. The players at Chelsea and their record under Tuchel, I think they'll have something to say about it. You don't know who exactly is going to play in that back five, but they've got Chilwell or Alonso on the left. They've got Reece James on the right, of course. You've got Azpilicueta who can play there as well. And then Rudiger, Christensen, Thiago Silva through the centre-back as well. Who knows? They could sign Jules Koundé. But then you look at Manchester United as well. I think they've got a shout now. Rafael Varane's been signed at the club. Harry Maguire has been going from strength to strength. We saw that in the summer with England. And then you've got Luke Shaw, who had a great season last year. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, the spider at right back. Who knows about the goalkeeper situation? But I think those other clubs might have something to say about the best defence in the Premier League. So who do you think takes it?
I think, look, first four, then sure. I think it is Liverpool. But that, again, is something that I got in trouble for saying earlier this week, was that I don't feel like Liverpool are variable proof. I know they've sort of dealt with the centre-back position. And last year, it was needed because, 84.5% of points that you could possibly get when Virgil van Dijk's playing, they achieved and secured them. Without him, 59.9 points. So a massive sort of hole was left by him and some of the other injuries as well. And when I say variable proof, the problem I have is Robertson gets injured, and Robertson has never been injured, and people go, oh, hang on a minute, Robertson plays all the time. Then he gets injured, and you've got some like Shimikas who started off the game really well last week, but faded quite badly. And in terms of depth, again, on the right-hand side, if Trent gets injured, who's your right back now? So for a team that's going to win the title, you've got to be variable proof. And I think Liverpool got away with it maybe a couple of years ago, and I say that in the kindest way. But this time round, I think if you play 60-odd games, you're going to have these injuries, and there's going to be problems along the way. The important thing is momentum, confidence, and that starts with the game against Burnley. Burnley, of course, beat them away from home last year, and we'll be looking to do the same. And I think for Burnley as well, I've got some huge concerns about their depth. That they have good pros, but again, if they have a couple of injuries, they're in huge problems. So. A massive game for both, where I think Burnley, of course, would walk away with the draw and be absolutely delighted. But for Liverpool, with that game against Chelsea next week, I think I would expect to see someone like Henderson. I would expect to see maybe Fabinho trying to get into the team as well, add that extra height that you need against Burnley all the time, and get themselves geared up with a confident win for that next game against Chelsea, which is going to be absolutely fantastic. But I feel like Liverpool are starting off on the right foot, and I expect them to win this one. Do you agree?
I agree. I think Burnley fans should be pretty worried. They've lost 11 straight games at home. They've lost 8 of their last 10 in all competitions. Yes, I know it's right at the start of the season, but I think the only bit of confidence, the only good omen that they can take is, of course, beating Liverpool home and away last season. Maybe they could become Liverpool's bogey team, and they get that sense of, that mental strength from knowing that they've done it before. But I think that is me really clutching at straws for this weekend. Liverpool have an amazing record, by the way, in terms of their first match at home in the league every season. They've only lost 3 of their last 55. I mean, that is incredible. Anfield, and Anfield will be rocking, by the way, a full house at Anfield. They have missed those players. They will, I'm sure, give a warm welcome to Virgil van Dijk. I just wonder, in terms of the front line, who those Liverpool fans will want to see this weekend, because Diogo Jota started through the middle, not Roberto Firmino, and he scored in that opening match of the season. Should he keep his place, though, James? What do you think?
Well, I think, again, you're trying to it's a mix between get yourself geared up for these big games that are inevitably coming, and, of course, the Champions League. I think Jota is the starter now. I think that's been decided. I think that's quite clear, in my opinion, certainly. I guess maybe there's some games where you might want to counterattack that a little bit quicker and have that fulcrum that Firmino can provide by being a guy that drops back a little deeper. But overall, I feel like his time has kind of come and gone now. I guess the one thing you might want to do is to allow yourself to maybe sort of suck in and isolate those 2 centre-backs. You've got Tarkowski and me. If you've got someone who kind of sits on them, then I think they'll be fine with that. Firmino dropping into those little spaces could be really interesting. So I wonder if he'll rotate it for this game, pop Firmino in just to kind of keep everyone happy. And then I think next week we really see who the best 11 are for Liverpool. Do you agree with that? I feel like Jota's certainly he's the main man now, surely.
I love Roberto Firmino's link-up play, but he hasn't been really hitting the heights in terms of the goal-scoring charts. And if Liverpool are going to compete with the strength of other clubs, you look at the signings that Man City could make in Harry Kane, that Romelu Lukaku, that Chelsea have already made in the shape of Romelu Lukaku, he needs to start delivering in that goals category. And if Diogo Jota is going to do that, then I think he is going to start. So it's a big season for Roberto Firmino. One side note before we move on, though, keep an eye out for Mohamed Salah this weekend. It's his 160th Premier League game. He's 2 goals away from his Premier League 100 goals. The record he's got is absolutely amazing. 36 assists as well. He'll want to do it in front of the home fans, so expect him to be shooting on site in that first half in particular. Mightn't get himself on the score sheet, but I guess we only see it one way. A win for Liverpool this weekend against Burnley in the Premier League to make it 2 out of 2 so far to begin their season.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.